Paula, how you doing? Rita, hello? Gary, what's up? James? Susan, hello? Rita, how are you? Yeah, I'd say big red wave. It's like we got a lot of people watching the Trump rally. Give it a couple more seconds here, guys, and then we'll get started. Kevin, how you doing? Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started. Swampwatch. 11/4/19. I put the wrong date down. Um, I posted a great video this afternoon that everybody needs to watch. Deborah Tavares is actually from Sonoma County, I think, originally, which is where I was born and where our family ranch is. Um, and this woman is done some great things. She's really been on top of the Agenda 21 uh, uh, program and how these mostly local governments, city and county, have been implementing this stuff over the last many years. Um, she, Everything she does is great except for her analysis of what's happening. She's not very big on President Trump. And I think that's what um, the only reason that at this point that the globalist agenda, all of it, 2030, 2050, 2021, that ends with President Trump. And this is important because this is also a great example of something I just talked about, I think, last night. When any analyst gets so focused on one segment of what's happening in the world right now, they tend to get the blinders on and they don't see what's happening everywhere else. And the problem is everything is connected. So if you're missing 80%, you're not going to really understand what's happening in your little 20 because there's other things from the outside that are impacting what's going on in your focus, right? She said something that illustrated this perfectly. President Trump signed an executive order recently, maybe the last 3 months, ballpark. Really doesn't make any difference when he signed it. But it was an executive order that basically was promoting and trying to gear up food production. And her problem with this was that he was encouraging GMOs. Well, yeah, I kind of would understand what she's talking about. I don't think President Trump would do that unless you know the backstory. What do we understand that's happening right now, guys? See, all of you understand that the swamp's draining, the pedophilia is going to be exposed, the worldwide economy is going to collapse, and there's a very good chance that many people in the world are going to be in a situation where they don't have access to food one way or another. Either, there's not available locally, they don't have the money, the stores are empty, whatever the case may be. The only reason President Trump signs that executive order, this is a short-term thing, guys. I guarantee you, President Trump will destroy the globalist agenda. He's been destroying it since day one. The worst nightmare the globalists have came true with President Trump. They still didn't think he could win. Look where we are today. But she doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand that he's trying to build up the food supply because he's trying to save millions of lives. He's on the same page as her, only he knows 10 times more than she does. He knows how this is going to play out. He knows that if we don't do certain things, it's going to put a lot of people in the world, their safety and security at jeopardy, including the food sources. So naturally, anybody in a position of power that knew this was coming would want to ramp up food production any way you could, even if it was using something that you didn't agree with. If it's going to help put food in people's mouths tomorrow, as opposed to 10 years down the road, it's a short-term deal. But it's also a great example how someone who's trying to do good can make mistakes when they're not looking at the big picture, when they don't understand the big picture, when they're not taking into account the swamp draining, the pedophilia being exposed, and the economy collapsing, and the devastation that possibly could bring to the world. Again, and here's the other thing, guys. I think we're going to get through this better than any country in the world. It's the countries that still have globalist leaders that have something to fear going through this process, because they're the ones going to be left hanging, just like we would have been if Obama or Clinton was in office and we faced this. There is no interest in protecting us by the liberal globalist swamp faction of our government. They want Agenda 21. They want 7 billion people murdered over the next 80 years. So you either, and here's the thing, you either buy in to who President Trump is, I believe chosen by God, with God's hand guiding and protecting him. And when you look at the evidence, it'll back me up 100%, because everything he's done, He's destroyed, almost completely destroyed, what it took the globalists 250 years to accomplish in less than 3. Right and left, he's crushing these guys. So you can't look at this and think that he's one of them. What would be, wait, let me get this straight. We're gonna make it look like he's working with us. Let him destroy 75% of what we've built over the last 250 years. So that what? Then we could come in when it's the last minute, when they think they've got us, and then surprise, we're all bad guys. What the? It's asinine. They'd have just let Hillary win, and this would be over by now. And they wouldn't have given up anything. It doesn't make any sense, guys. It's President Trump will go down as our greatest president. He will be credited with saving not only our constitutional republic and our Constitution, but the world. What he's doing is saving the world. Look what's happened since he's taken office. Look what's happened around the world with people rising up against this globalist agenda. And that's what it boils down to. All of the problems that we're facing in the world today are brought about by this globalist agenda. This, what could be catastrophic worldwide financial collapse, is all a product of their making. They did this on purpose. This was part of this whole climate change. That's why they're going crazy here. What's going on in California is a direct result of these globalists being crushed. They don't have much time. What's going on right now in California the last couple of years since President Trump got elected? They should have taken 10 or 15 years to get the public conditioned to accept what's coming. They don't have the time. They've got to burn this thing up and keep their fingers crossed because it's the last thing they got. But she's wrong because everything that she's fighting for, President Trump, she could go take a vacation for the next year and come back, and everything that she's fighting for is going to be done. It's already in the works. It's over. What would have taken, well, if she could have got anything accomplished, and where this was going, guys, she was going to end up in a camp just like I would have. President Trump, it's part of the process. It's part of draining the swamp. All of this garbage that we've been inundated, all of these regulations, all of the attacks on our freedom, you know, they think about this. You get caught texting driving, you get a ticket, a big ticket. Got to wear your seatbelt. Got to wear a helmet. Our founders would be rolling over in their graves if they knew the kind of bullshit that we're putting up with. These are direct attacks. You got to understand what it means to be free. It means your government gets the hell out of your life. The government doesn't control us. They work for us. Listen, if you are texting and you get an accident, you're going to be held liable for that. And probably penalties added on for not being safe while you're driving. But you shouldn't affect the whole rest of the country and impact our freedom because you're trying to control something. That's not how it works in America. We are going to go, I think, shift gears from a Republican Party to a libertarian. That's where this thing's headed. And you guys all need to research what a libertarian is. That's really where we're headed. That's the Constitution 100%. That's zero overreach by the government. You can't write a law preventing me from texting while driving under what our founders envisioned as our Constitution and freedom. That's an infringement on our freedom. Listen, it's not the government's job to legislate us into safety. Screw that. Life isn't safe. That's the problem. They put the fear of God in us. Oh God, you're going to die because somebody's texting. Well, shit, we're all going to die someday. Don't screw with our freedom. These are all free choices. You want to die because you weren't wearing your seatbelt? It's your life. I don't have the right to tell you to put that seatbelt on. We're going to need to throw out half the penal codes in our country. Well, probably 80% of them. Because it's all bullshit laws created to control us. And it's by design, guys. This didn't happen by accident. Just look at all the building codes. Something I used to have to deal with every day. It's ridiculous, the crap that they subject homeowners to because they can. Because that's what they want to do. They want to cost us out of home ownership. That was the goal here. They eventually, look what's happening right now, and this is something that she brings up. The insurance companies won't insure. They're all working together on this. All of that crap goes. And most of those people involved in this crap, bet your ass, everybody involved in PG&E this is treason. What they're doing right now, they're working in concert with others to try and help take down a sitting president of the United States. These people, I had another conversation with a member today, and it was talking about, well, they're going to hide their assets. Really? Yeah, sure. They can go bury them out in the middle of nowhere where nobody's ever going to find it. But it's not going to do them any good when they're executed or spending the rest of their lives in Gitmo. Yeah, go ahead. Hide it. I could care less. As long as these people get their justice, and justice is coming. And the bottom line is, there's not very many places they can hide it, guys. No matter where they hide it, they're not going to be able to spend it. Because even if they do happen to somehow escape, what are they going to do with it? Where are you going to spend $100 million if you're on the run from the most powerful country in the world with technology that is far beyond what we even know right now? There's nowhere you can hide in the world today. If you're on the list, if you have an indictment out against you, you will get your justice. You're not going to hide anywhere. And where you try and hide your money, every single one of these monsters is going to be stripped of their wealth. There's no thing of where you're going to hide it in a bank account in Switzerland or offshore somewhere and come back to it in 5 years. No. They're going straight to those banks if they're still operating. So, I'm not knocking this woman. She's done some great work. I'm using this as a teaching example to show you how important the big picture is. How important understanding who President Trump is. And you do that by looking at his actions, not by what he's saying. And just look what he's done in less than 3 years. More than any president right now, more than any president in our history. When you look what he's done, what he's accomplished, and the circumstances he's had to work under, already he's accomplished more than any president who served 2 terms. And just wait until you see what happens by the end of his presidency. Most of this crap that we're talking about, Agenda 21, all the attacks on our Constitution, the educational system in our country, all of it gets wiped away because the whole point of this thing is cutting the head off the snake. And that's the globalists. Every single thing they wanted is going to be eradicated. It will not be allowed. Yeah, they may think they're getting something done now where they have these underlings already in place in the counties, in the city government. They're all going to be ferreted out, every single last one of them. Sustainable development is a con job that will not be tolerated in the United States of America, or I believe anywhere in the world, because the whole world's going to wake up to this scheme. What these people have been doing to our kids, what these people wanted to do to us, how they've been stealing us blind for the last several hundred years, it's all coming to an end, and we're there. We're not going to get to the end of the year. We might not get to the end of the week before this blows up. So, okay. Next. Yeah, guys, we can see Litecoin's on the move, Bitcoin's on the move. The banks are, I don't know, I think they're at 300 billion now. 300 billion. They got to have it, or the banks don't open tomorrow. It's getting away from them. What's it going to be next week? 500, 800, a trillion? How far is it going to go? It can't go much farther, guys. We're at the end game here. It's impossible to control this thing. No matter what you do, you can't fix it. If you keep printing money, we're going to go into hyperinflation, just like they did in Zimbabwe. And if they don't, it freezes up. So one way or another, this thing's over. And where we're at today is worse than we were in 2008 when they did the bailout. They're not getting a bailout. This thing can't go on another 2 months. There's nowhere to go. I mean, if they print money, if they start printing billions of dollars and flood them from the streets, it's not going to go 2 months before we hit hyperinflation. So we're there, guys. Do what you got to do. Take the top, as many things as you can on your list, and start tackling them. Because again, when this blows up, you're not going to be able to. If you can buy Bitcoin, Litecoin, silver, you're going to pay multiples of what it is today, huge multiples of what it is today, the prices. And food and water, when this thing, look what's happened with these fires. Relatively contained when you're looking about this state, and the areas that these things are, grocery stores were empty in a matter of hours. What do you think's going to happen when the banks close? When they arrest Obama and Clinton? It's not going to work, guys. It's over. This economy's shot. There's no way to save it. It's a mathematical certainty. It's happening. The only question is when. And God's the only one that knows that for sure. I'm taking my best guesses, but and I'm going to keep doing that because I've got to point out what's on the horizon, and then it either happens or it doesn't. But at least we were ready in case something did. It's like this thing with Seattle. There's still the 5th, right? The 3rd and the 5th were the target days. Again, I hope nothing happens because in my mind, what that shows is that we controlled the situation, and that maybe the rumors coming out of the raid on Baghdadi, that they were able to thwart a terrorist attack, maybe that lines up. The other thing I want to throw in real quick is something else that Tavares doesn't take into account is the chemtrailing that is basically, listen, we used to get 10 or 12 runs a day in the Bay Area minimum. 3 since the 4th of July. 3 chemtrails I've seen when we got 10 to 12 a day for years. So things are being done to take down the globalist. And I think honestly, if they were trying to pull something off on the 3rd or 5th, we'll see, and it doesn't happen, it says a lot to me that President Trump is again 5 steps ahead of these guys. They're playing chess, and he has been flawless. You name a mistake he's made. And my God, to be at this point with really no huge loss of life and almost to be at the end, pretty amazing stuff, guys. Okay, let's see what we got for questions. Somebody said they're still chemtrailing. And here's the other thing, guys. There are definitely 2 kinds of chemtrails. Up until just after the 4th of July, they were usually big, billowy clouds that would hang for hours in the sky, usually all day. The ones that I have seen, the 3 that I've seen, have been completely different. Been really very light, very thin, and dissipated within minutes. Clearly not this. They weren't contrails. They hung out long enough so you could tell. See, a contrail is just the vapor from the engines at altitude, and you'll see them, and they'll usually be gone in seconds. When it starts hanging around for 10 minutes, it's different. It's not a contrail, but it's not the same as what they were spraying before the 4th. So there's been rumors about good chemtrails. I don't know. All I can tell you is it's chemtrailing in the Bay Area, one of the most populated areas in our country, has gone down by 95%. And I don't think there's been anything harmful sprayed, and it's certainly not what it has been in the past. I don't care where you are in the country. It's been reduced. Everybody I talk to around the country, in every part of the country, said if they have them, it's way less than it had been. So, yeah, this ought to give you guys a clue. China's buying up cryptos like crazy. China knows what's coming. China is trying to help their people get prepared for this. They understand the transfer of wealth that's coming, guys. Elizabeth, glad you're here. Okay, guys, I'm going to try and finish this up so you can get back to the rally. Yeah, isn't that funny? Q talked about 93 days of darkness, And when did he come back? Exactly 93 days. Or the 94th day, whatever it worked out to. David, glad you made it. Yeah, Project Veritas has got something on Epstein. It's just going to get better, guys. Every day there's more stuff. It's amazing. Yes, exactly. Why the deep state they want to starve us out. That's the other thing. These fires and all the crazy weather we had over the winter that ruined all the crops. See, that's what I mean. If you understand this and look at the big picture, and you've got to understand that the reason he signed that executive order was to protect us, not to go along with the globalist agenda. Chad, how you doing? I posted it because number one is um, she's done some great work, and really everything she talks about, she's dead on, except for the analysis part in thinking that President Trump is working against us. And I wanted you guys to see, because I just got through talking about this, about people that are so focused, either some just on the pedophilia, some just on the economy, some just on politics. If you're not taking in everything and looking at everything, none of your analysis is going to be accurate. You've got to look at the big picture. No matter if you're looking, if your focus is narrowed, you have to look at the big picture in today's world, or you're not, what you're focused on, you're not going to get an accurate analysis because you've got all this other stuff that's exactly like President Trump and this executive order. If you look at it on the surface, it gives you second thoughts. Well, why is he doing this? We know why he's doing it. And it's not because he's a globalist or working with these people. He knows the deal. And he's working for us. And he proves it every single day. Yeah, so it's that article. Again, guys, this woman, her heart is in the right place. She's done phenomenal work for years. She's just mistaken about President Trump, but you see how it changes the whole deal. And it really, when she's trying to do something positive, she's actually doing something negative by making people have second thoughts that are no merit about President Trump and his motives. Kathleen bought more Litecoin today. Good job. Cindy, how are you? I'm glad you made it. Cantor, how you been? Good to see you. How's your dad doing? So Kevin, that's you're up in Spokane. Um, yeah, uh, and the other thing, Kevin, if they're chemtrailing, is it as bad as it was a year ago, or is it better? I mean, that's important too. Oh, colloidal silver. Everybody should have colloidal silver in their prepping. Colloidal silver, if you don't know what it is, it's a natural antibiotic. Um, Mike, who's on tonight, actually makes colloidal silver and he sells it for like less than half of what you get it for at the store. So reach out to Mike uh, for anybody who wants it. He'll ship it to you guys. But you definitely want colloidal silver, guys, in your prepping stuff. Julie, how you doing? Let's see. Cindy, where are you at, Cindy? Because like I say, I'm in the Bay Area. I'm 25 miles from San Francisco. They used to hammer us. Like I said, 10, 12 a day at least. And it wouldn't be unusual to get 20. And now, like I said, three since the 4th of July. Carolyn, how you doing? Well, if you listen, she mentioned a couple of things. She's basically trying to say, if you listen to it again, listen to the part about the executive order he signed about GMO foods. There was a couple of places where she was knocking President Trump. And if I was in a position where I was just learning this stuff, it would give me second thoughts about President Trump's motives. She's making it sound like he's not working for us, was my take. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just talking about the only time I've heard her do that, and I haven't listened to one of her videos in probably 2 years. Um, but today in this video, listen to the part about the executive order on the GMO foods. And there was another place too, and I didn't write it down because I was just going to use this example. And again, I'm not knocking this woman. I'm just saying she's mistaken about President Trump. She's done great work. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying she's a troll or has anything nefarious on her mind. I think she's trying to do good, but she's missing the boat on President Trump. Yeah, so Kevin's saying it's totally different too. So um, I can tell you, good things are happening every day. Every day, the deep state, the globalists get knocked down another notch. So we're headed in the right direction, guys. Okay, guys. Oh, wait a minute. So Cindy's in. So Cindy's seeing the same thing that Kevin's seeing up there in the north. And you know what? Those planes that are hitting Washington are probably coming out of Canada. Would be my bet. Um, but at some point, all of that crap's going to end, even if President Trump needs to shoot him down. Everybody's going to be in line here pretty quick, guys. Okay. I know we got President Trump's rally. I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Um, Remember, fear not. God and President Trump are still 1,000% in control. I'll see you tomorrow night at 5. God bless.